I'm going to be showing you how to do some grain sack style stripes on some cushions, and using your lovely stencils we can do some welcome or a bunch of different things. I've got a supply list also, so make sure you go to the description in the live. The supply list is there with all the details. And if you have any questions, please let us know in the comments. I forgot to get you a pen, Celia, because you're going to be picking our prize winners today, so you might want to get that sometime. And the colours I'm using are fusion colours today. What I've done back here is what I've got on the supply list. And we'll be doing our grain sack stripes using one of Essential Stencil's pre-order exclusives. So this was just for their Christmas pre-orders that you would have received a part of their swag or bonuses. So Essential just go all out with a whole bunch of bonuses and things like that quite often. So you want to be on their emailing list for sure, that's for sure. But today I'm using their grain sack stripe. So this is not available on the website. It was an exclusive pre-order. But guys, do you know what? You can actually make grain sacks stripes with some painter's tape. You could use your painter's tape. It is the long way around, so you know, next time they have a special like this with grain sacks, you need to jump onto that. Now the other pillow here, you can probably see in the background, I've got just the central stripe coming down there, but I thought today we'd do something a little different, and instead of using this one here, I'm going to use this one on the side here with the, it's a little bit narrower, and I'm going to do it down either side of the cushion cover. So this is just a GURLI cushion from IKEA. You could use any cushion cover really. Just make sure it's got, what do you call that? A thick twill, is that the right word? I don't know. It's kind of a real sturdy fabric.
Homespun, cotton duck.
Yeah, cotton kind of fabric. It could be any, but I just find it's easier to stencil on something that's kind of flat, if that makes sense. So this is a nice linen colour also. They do come in a bunch of colours. I've got some pink ones back here also. The pink GURLI cushions. Now that's not GURLI as in G-I-R-L, it's G-U-R-L-I is their brand name for that style of cushion. So you can look that up if you have an IKEA close to you. I don't even know if they ship, but that's in the supply list. Let us know where you're tuning in from. That'd be fun. You're getting an echo with the audio. It's maybe because we're in an echoey room. I don't know. It's nothing that I've done unusual today, but hopefully you can still hear everything I'm saying in my Aussie accent. Okay, so I'm going to measure in from the side where I've got the stencil here, just so that I can make sure it's the same when I put it over here on the other side. This is the grain sack stencil, which came with the Christmas pre-order as an exclusive stencil. So I'm just going to tape that down here a little bit. Are you seeing any comments on yours, Celia? No. It's frustrating when Facebook does these things. So if there's any questions, just let us know and we'll pop them in the comments. Okay, so we've got that taped down. I'm going to be using Fusion's cranberry colour, so it's a gorgeous deep red. It's not a bright red, and it is really lovely Christmas colour actually. But you also see this kind of a colour on grain sacks stripes, you know, on linen and, you know, the French grain sack type fabrics. So I thought I'd use that colour today. And now if you've watched my lives before, I'm using a Klingon round brush here, and I've just taped off the end just so I can shorten my bristles to make them less flexible. It helps with just the stenciling side of things in making it a little bit stiffer. Otherwise, I'll just show you on a regular, oops, there's a different round brush. If I just keep the bristles long, it's a lot more flexible. Can you see that? But whereas I taper that, and for stenciling purposes, it just gives a nice tiny movement. So, get my trusty newspaper. Now the other thing is, that if you're using if you're doing a cushion cover, you don't want it to go through the paint. Look, I've already done this several times on these GURLI IKEA cushion covers, and they really don't come through at all. But just to stop people stressing out about that, I'll put my newspaper in here. So you just want to put some paper inside, brown paper or newspaper or something, so that it's not going to go on there. But this is quite thick, so it doesn't actually go through. And because you're only using minimal, I feel like my painter's tape might have moved. Let's just measure that again. See, I'm doing it in centimetres. It does have inches on the ruler, but in Australia we use centimetres. Just moved slightly. Okay.
Yes, that's
got any
pumpkin
questions?
pie.
It is. It's pumpkin pie.
Yes, that's.
I'm going to have a bite. Do you excuse me?
Oh, go. It's really good.
Is it?
Yeah, mine's devoured.
All right.
Yeah.
Got my newspaper. Dipping a little bit in the end of the paint on the end of the bristles. And we call that offloading, where you're just loading off the paint, the excess paint. I don't want to offload too much because these stripes and the fabric does take a little bit of paint, but you don't want it to be bleeding under the stencil. So what I'm going to do with this also is be going up and down. So usually if you've seen me, I do a swirling motion when I'm stenciling, but on these stripes I'm actually going to go backwards and forwards because swirling just might move. There's a little bit of movement in these. So let me know, did you get the Christmas pre-order exclusive, and do you have this grain sack stripe stencil? Let me know in the comments if you've received this one. All right. That pumpkin pie is good, if I do say so myself.
Oh, it is.
And we don't, in America, where I lived there for several years, and I know you guys over in America and Canada, you can buy canned pumpkin to make your pumpkin pies. We do not have such luxuries here in Australia. Canned pumpkin. And so last night I boiled pumpkin to make my pumpkin pie. Boiled it, mashed it. Yes, I was feeling rather domesticated. Okay, so I'm going backwards and forwards here.
There is a comment about the skinny stripes moving around.
Yeah, so the skinny stripes will move around. So you just hold them down like this and going back and forth rather than round and round. You could also stipple that. Now, yesterday whenever it was that I made my other demonstration cushion here, and I've got the stripe down the side. I don't know if you can see that. See this?
Yep.
Got the camera work there. It's quite heavy and dense, and also with the welcome sign. Today, I wanted to show you how not to do it so heavy, just so that we can get a little bit more of that rustic feel about the grain sack. You know, when you have grain sack for real, the stripes aren't really that stencil looking. They're not solid. They've got a little bit of wear to them. So it's like they've been in the wash a million times over the years. A million, really? I don't know if you could wash linen that many times. It would be so interesting to see how many times we've washed our linen. Hey. So just working a little bit at a time, offloading on the brush because you don't want too much on there. Less is more. I always say you can always add more on. And remember, on the stripes you want to go back and forth if you've got this stencil at home, because you don't want to be swirling it underneath these little thin lines. So there are 4 different combinations on this. Let me know, did anyone say whether they've done that?
A few people have got it. I'm really looking forward to the ideas to using it.
That's a great idea.
And
yeah, so this is a fun one that you can do on cushions. Now you could do this on ordinary tea towel too, imagine that. So just using it on your tea towel, you can put some plain grain sack stripes and then put words on the tea towel. I've done that a few times before too. Gives you a lovely farmhouse look for your linen.
Yep. Pillowcases would be good.
Yep, pillowcases are great too. All right, so we've come to the end of our stencil. We've got to move it down. So what I'm going to do is just lift it slightly. Now I don't know if you can see that, but I haven't done it as solid. I've just kind of left a little bit of, almost looks worn and weathered here because I did not put very much on my brush and I just did very light brushing, if that makes sense. Okay, so I want to make sure it's going off the end here and that my stripes line up exactly with those stripes up there. Okay. And there we go. So holding down with this hand as well first, just to make sure. Now you want to really work a little bit harder on that join there, just so that it's probably going to be a little bit more solid, so that you don't see a line coming across from where you've finished. In fact, what probably would have been a better idea, and I'll show you again on the repeat stripe on this side, is not actually going to the very end of the line. So I'll show you that next time. And then you don't actually create a line in order to just make it blend a bit more as we're going down. So again, I'm not sure if you can see that. I'll show you close up when I've lifted this, but the paint is running out on the brush, but I don't mind that at all because we're still seeing that it's a stripe and it's going to be just looking a little bit more worn, like naturally grain sacks would look. So we're coming up to this edge and zipper part here, which takes a little bit more of sort of holding it in place. Once again, moving backwards and forwards on the stripes, not round and round, so we can follow the lines. And we're using Fusion's Cranberry. Yep.
Put that in the shot.
Which is a gorgeous Christmassy red, actually. If you're still doing DIY, Christmas workshops, or projects at home, it's just a gorgeous colour to use. That and their green bayberry colour. They're very lovely, vintagey, heritage kind of colours, I feel. Look, I reckon I've got a bit too much on the brush. Now, guys, a lot of you I have seen
Bleeding problems.
lately have said they've had either bleeding problems or they're not quite getting it right. It only takes practice. Just use a piece of paper, ordinary brown paper or cardboard from an old box and practice. Get your stencils out and just practice doing less on your brush. Less. When you think you've got enough offloaded, offload some more. It's almost like dry brushing kind of technique, if you've heard of that. It's literally so you've got hardly any left on your brush and you're just doing that there. So I'm going to show you this close up. We finished that little section there.
Okay.
And I'm going to move my
zoom in.
stripe. Just going to hold that up there. So you'll see a little bit of unevenness, and so it looks a bit more naturally worn, if that makes sense. So
Let me see. And
yes, so
the
we're going to do
reason
that on the other side. So I'll just show you a little bit on how to do that. And I did it. I'll measure the same length, same distance in, and I'm turning my stripe around so that the measurement is the same.
And it
Makes sense? Yep.
doesn't bleed, and it doesn't. You don't have to iron it in, or how do you set it?
Okay,
Do you
so
seal it?
if you want to, it probably is a good idea to set the paint in, and you just have to iron. Okay, this cushion cover has a little angle here, so I'm going to measure it from this distance here just to make sure we're even. Not that anyone is going to really notice, seriously, when it's got its little feather insert or whatever cushion insert you decide, and it's sitting on the couch. No one's going to be looking to see if you're measuring your stripes exactly the same. But we do like to try and get it right. Okay, so just showing you again that, and especially when I get down to this end section here, I'm going to not go all the way to the end. I'll just kind of feather it a little bit. So just going down, back and forth if you like, holding down those little thin striped areas, a little bit more worn. Oh, did I finish my sentence about the ironing? Yes, I think I just whizzed by a comment that talked about, do you need something under the fabric? Yep, always a good idea. But like I said before, these ones are really thick cotton drill, I think it is. I do have a piece of newspaper slid inside, just in case, but I've never seen anything come through because I use hardly any paint. But if in doubt, yes, always put something underneath your stencils. And to set it, yeah, just a hot iron, but make sure you're not ironing on the actual paint. I would iron on the reverse of it, or use just a thin tea towel lying on top of your paint. Make sure it's dry first, you know. I'd leave it a good couple of hours to make sure it's completely dry, even though this fusion paint tends to dry fairly quickly.
Oh yeah, it's perfect. What do you do with all your cushions?
I actually have a little antique booth in our city of Brisbane, and I take my cushions, my decor, my furniture painted pieces, I take those in to sell them there. And I do have some scattered around the house. I did some buffalo check cushions, they're on my lounge room chair. But yeah, I sell furniture from there. I also stock in Australia, so Australia-wide. If you're from Australia, give me a little wave of your Aussie flag there, guys.
Yeah.
I do sell fusion mineral paint Australia-wide on my website, irestorestuff.com. Okay, nearly getting to the end here, and there are some, it looks kind of patchy, but that's the way we want it to be. If you've just joined us, we're making green sack stripes.
And if you don't have the stencil, you can.
Yes, if you don't have this stencil, because it's not available on their main website, but you know what? You could always suggest it to Essential Stencil, message them and say, I love that green sack stripe, please bring it into your regular line. I don't know, they might listen to you. Just saying. I might get in trouble for saying that, but they do love their customers and they like to listen to what you guys want, so you could make a suggestion. Also, you could also make it just using painter's tape. You can run the tape all the way across and then put another little one next to it and make stripes that way. And I have done it that way lots of times, but I must say that using the stencil is so much easier than trying to measure, because often I'm trying to think, okay, my paint tape is over where it's going to be. Is it going to be in the right? Okay, so I'm not going to the end here. Can you see that? I've left a little gap at the end so that we can feather the join.
Good work.
And as we move it down. So there we go. See, it's kind of feathered because I haven't done a complete line at the end, and that'll help us to blend it, unlike what I did on here, but it's not too bad. You can see where I've done a solid line there.
Somebody suggested using parchment paper to iron over it. That
Yes,
would work really
parchment
well.
paper is a good idea also to use to set the paint. So heat will set it into fabric as well. I've used stencils on t-shirts and cushions and tea towels and linens. I feel like it's just not in the right place. There we go. Yeah, it's a great idea, especially using a good acrylic paint. Like Fusion's pretty good at that. Oh, my pumpkin pie is sitting here staring at me, guys.
I'll eat it for you.
It's all right, we've got plenty more.
Yeah,
Finish off. All right, so going backwards and forwards, like I said before. Now we're going to be putting a lovely stencil in the middle of this. And guys, today we have a giveaway. We're still doing the giveaway, so stay tuned to the end, and we'll pick 3 winners to win Essential Stencil. Random Essential Stencil sent out to you just for being awesome. So Celia's going to be choosing a comment. I didn't get to share this on my page. I hope someone will share this around the love. If you know a DIYer who loves farmhouse style or grain sack stripes or even stenciling, you can go ahead and share that live right now with the little button down there. Sprinkle the love out there. And you can jump, it'll just jump you right back here on the live. You won't miss a beat. I would love it if you did that. All right, I'm coming to the end where this kind of thick edge is, so I just have to hold that down a little bit more. Probably get some paint on my fingers, but that is my life. Paint on my hands. I've literally been out to the shops or even to church. Actually, I sing on stage at church and I'd paint on my hands one time. I'm looking down and going, oh, I'll just tuck those away.
Yep.
So yeah, we often, that's the life of a furniture painter.
Fusion is hard to
All right, there you go. So I love how that turned out. And
So
imagine other colours that you would use. What do you kind of see as stencil colours for grain sack stripes? You know, you could do that in a grey or
Green,
greens.
blues,
Yep. Yes, it can work on linen. Perfect. Hey, Wendy from Australia. Woohoo! Thanks for watching. Is this stencil for this month? No, it's not in the Stencil of the Month Club. This was actually a Christmas 2019 pre-order exclusive. So you've got to look out for those exclusives that come every now and then with Essential Stencil. But if that's that's one of the stencils that you are like, I have got to have that thing, just make a request in there and you never know, they may listen and put it in their line. I think it's a great stencil. I love it. Okay, we're going to put some words on here now. Oh, sorry, that was very Australian sounding.
Linda wants you to sing a song while you're stenciling.
Oh, no, we won't do that. I will let you in on a little secret. I do have a certain Christmas song on my YouTube channel. I'm just going to drop that there. And it's a Christmas one too, actually. I might kind of do a repost of that sometime. Maybe December 1st is a good time to start Christmas songs. But it's a little Christmas song with a little difference. If you can find it, go ahead and post it in the comments. I won't be too shy. But it was a bit of a risk putting it out there, but I had lots of comments going, wow, that was amazing. Because what I did was I changed some of the words and made it into a furniture painting song. Bet you that's got you interested and intrigued. I don't know, I want to go with, I've done welcome on this one. I think we'll do something different. Now, we've got the link for all of your supplies in the description of this live, and this is the Welcome Farmhouse Gather set. So all three of these are in this whole set. Remember, guys, to use that link for your 30% off. It's the Black Friday sale, and it's only until Friday or Thursday. I think it's only until Thursday or Wednesday night. I don't know. Do it today. Use that link and make sure that you've got the early access code. It should automatically put it in at the checkout for you. The other thing is, here's another idea for a Christmas cushion, is you could do Christmassy, I need to pop that into the water right away so that it doesn't go yucky. Christmas farmhousey idea is use some of these, which are the Farmhouse Christmas set, and I'm pretty sure I put that alternative link in. You can either use these for the cushion or these, or any stencils really, but that's what I put in the supply list for you. This is the Farmhouse Christmas set. We've got sleigh rides, Christmas trees, and the other one is Farmhouse Christmas. So that's another cute idea for Christmas, as well as, I can imagine these too would go great on a grain sack cushion. Gingerbread, the sweets. This is the holiday sweets set. Hot cocoa or candy canes. Making sure I'm not missing any of your...
Today's the last day for the 30% off. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you, it is. So don't forget, happy Thanksgiving all, and get those in. All right, so instead of welcome this time, I'm going to do a different one from this set. Gather, I think it will be. So I'm going to do gather. I think I'll do it up your way so that you can read it. So I usually like to put my words with the zipper side down so that it's when, oops, there we go. So when you've got it on your couch or your chair, that you're seeing the top nice and you're not having the zipper up the top. So just kind of have a think about which way you want yours to go. And I'm going to pop that right in the centre. Now, if I'd sort of thought about the words earlier, I might have put my grain sack stripes just a little bit closer, you know, so that they're running a little bit more in the words. But that's okay. I'm going to go with this because it is what it is. Just takes a little bit of thinking about it. Sharon was having a non-thinking moment, but it's okay. It'll look fine.
It'll look great. Nicely framed.
All right, if you missed this before, I'm just using my Klingon round brushes for stencil brushes. But because they're very flexible for furniture painting, because they're really good at, I'm going to use my fingers for an example, they're really good at getting in between grooves and on spindles on chairs and things like that, but if I want them for stenciling, I need that to be less flexible. So what I do is just tie a rubber band at the end, and then it becomes my little swirly stencil brush tool. There you go. So we're going to use a different colour, and I'm going with, which I also have in the supply list, the colour for you, is Fusion's Ash, which is a really dark grey colour, because I figured that's kind of a grain sacky look of things as well. And I didn't get my
Trusty
little
thing
trusty
open.
thing open. I think you can just ignore it and it might just go away.
Yep. All good.
Alright, so again we're using our, I'll just turn this over, newspaper to offload, and just take this actually. And what I'm going to do is tape it in those sections where, so I'm looking at the end here and where it comes over the grain sack stripes to make sure it's even. I'm going to tape where that leaf comes fairly close to the end of the stencil so that I don't
Go off the edge.
get it
Cool.
onto the cushion. Don't forget that we do have prizes to give away at the end of the live, so stay tuned.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know anyone else who likes DIY, sprinkle the love and you know what to do, hit that little button. Alright, offloading my grey, so this is ash grey, a lovely charcoal, really dark grey. This just looks amazing on furniture, and it's got excellent coverage too.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, know that we are going over the grain sack stripes, so it's going to be on top of that. We've got the, now for this one, instead of going backwards and forwards, I'm doing a little swirly kind of motion here. And once again, I'll show you on my welcome cushion back here. Let me just bring that forward a bit more without getting paint on it everywhere. You'll see it's more of a solid paint stenciling job that I've done on both the welcome and on the stripe. Whereas the one that I'm doing for you today, I wanted to show you how you can just make it a little bit more authentic and have less paint on your brush and make it look a little bit worn. So the grain sack stripe I've done that for, and I'm going to do that again for the gather. Hopefully I can just get the right amount on. Dipping that in, wiping it off, then offloading the excess. And if you've done this 100 times, it does get quicker and easier. So if something's worn naturally, like as in washed and worn over the years, as grain sack probably would be, I'm imagining, I'm just going to get a little bit more tape for the bottom of here because that G is very close to the edge. I don't want to go off and have a big grey stripe where it shouldn't be on my cushion, and over here with the leaf. So those are the spots that you need to just tape up, and here at the top of the H for gather. Yes, today's the last day for the 30% off, guys, so click on that link in the comments and make sure in the checkout the code early access is there in order for you to get the 30% off. It is such a great way to take advantage of gift giving for the year, get your Christmas stencils all in, ready for next year if you're done with all your Christmas DIY projects for this year. But it's not even December yet, guys, so you shouldn't be done with all of those projects yet.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm doing some worn bits, some a bit more thicker than the others, so it's a little bit more distressed, for want of a better word.
Can I do a summary of all the things?
Of
So if we haven't answered questions, it's probably because they've already been answered beforehand, and
That's right.
we don't want to overly repeat, but fabric and cushions are from IKEA and they're in the list, the paint's in the list.
The supply list is at the top.
That's it.
In the comments at the end, I've got the supply list there, and they're all clickable links in that supply list too, so you can just click on the link and go to, some of them might be affiliate links, or on Amazon or something, and others are, hey, here's where you can find Fusion paint. So
Yep, and it sets in the sunshine, our hot Aussie sunshine, or with a hot iron over paper towel, parchment, another tea towel, anything like that, and then it'll go through the wash just fine.
that's correct. Nicole says, I need that holiday sweet set. It's a good one. I've made some signs with that. I have done some placemats. If you missed that live, check back on Essential Stencil's past lives, and you'll see a whole range of lives that we've done as ambassadors. The Christmas placemats was the one that I did using those sweets stencils, and they were great. They worked out awesome. So yes, that's a great one. Requisites candy canes with red stripes.
Yeah.
That's a fun idea.
Oh, sorry, Sue, we missed that one about can you use these outside, and if so, what would you seal it with?
The cushions outside?
Yeah.
I don't know. You could, I mean, anything's kind of probably going to fade, but I don't know. I would just give it a go.
Yeah, if you're going to take your cushions outside, sure, and then clean them afterwards. I think once it's sealed the first time, it'll go through the wash fine.
Once you've set it, it'll go through the wash. You can wash them.
Yep.
And really, it's quite a really cheap, very cheap actually, to just do it again. These cushions, I know in Australia, they're like something like $4 for these IKEA cushions, $4 or $5. I'm not sure what they are in the US or Canada, but to be able to make a gorgeous DIY cushion that looks like it's bought from it looks like it's literally made from a grain sack.
Yay.
So that's some of those French original grain sacks are really expensive. So
Yeah. Making your own is good.
DIY is great. There we go. So some of this is a little bit worn looking in other areas. So you might want to call it patchy, or you could call it rustic. Let's go with that. So you will see that when I remove this. You can see that gather, we've got sort of worn looking, patchy looking, as opposed to this one that I did earlier, which has quite a solid look. So you can choose whether you want more of a worn look or more of the solid look. Zoom out a little. So you can see that's a lot more solid, and this one's a little bit worn.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope you liked that DIY stencil today.